The first lesson that is probably the most important, whether it's in podcasting or business or just life in general, is welcome back to the 100th episode of the Slay Your Day podcast. Whether you are just coming in now on the 100th episode or you've been here from the beginning, I just want to say a huge thank you to every single one of you who have been here, who have tuned in, who have watched this on YouTube or listened on podcast. You guys are a part of the Slay Your Day family. So I wanted to do a little something special today in honor of the 100th episode. And that is, I wanted to kind of go back and I wanted to look at and share with you 5 unexpected lessons that I learned going through the process of 100 episodes. And then I also wanted to sprinkle in what I wish I knew. Now, so many of you, whether it's in my High Performance Academy or just here through this channel and through the podcast, you guys ask me questions all the time about content, podcasting, YouTubing, creating content, repurposing content. So I have some amazing tips for you guys that I wish I would have known from the beginning that I'm going to be sharing with you today. And I have some bullet points, but I'm also just going to be kind of riffing on my own experience and as things come up. Now, if you didn't know, this was actually my 3rd podcast. So my very first podcast was the Modern Moms Club. And that's where I did solo episodes similar to this. I would also bring on guest speakers, but that was in the very beginning stages of motherhood for me. It was when Jake was first born. I was doing my podcast. I was running my business. I was just having so much fun with it. And that was the first stage of my business. My second podcast was called Project in Charge that I did with my best friend, Natalia. And we wove that into our retreats, into our program. It was something fun for us to do together. And then she moved away. She moved back to California. We still keep in touch. She's still one of my closest girlfriends, but it didn't make sense for us anymore to maintain doing the podcast with us being on different coasts, different time zones. So we just stopped doing that. Then 100 episodes ago, the very first Slay Your Day podcast episode came out. And here we are today, 100 episodes later. And I have so much wisdom, so much insight and tips that I want to share with you guys. If you are either looking to start your podcast or if you are looking to get more visibility on your podcast, whether that's sponsors, viewership, eyeballs, likes, subscribers, we're going to go in and we're going to talk about all of that today on the 100th episode of the Slay Your Day podcast. So if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe. So hit that subscribe button below, like this episode, because if you didn't know already, every single week I pick 3 winners to win an exclusive call with me, a signed copy of my Slay Your Day book, or access into the High Performance Academy. So I want that winner to be you. So make sure you are subscribed. And the way that you win is 2 things. You subscribe. So you hit the subscribe button and you comment below and you let me know that you subscribed so my team and I can follow up with you and let you know that you've won. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 unexpected lessons that I learned after 100 episodes of the Slay Your Day podcast. All right. The first lesson that is probably the most important, whether it's in podcasting or business or just life in general, is start before you're ready. Start before you're ready. Perfection is a myth and ready is a lie. And I'm saying this because, I have so many amazing, incredible women that have so much value to give, that have incredible lessons to share and their message to just put out in the world. And they're so afraid of doing it wrong. Now, look, there's no such thing as wrong, and perfection is a myth. And at the end of the day, the only thing stopping you from going out there and doing the thing that you want to do is yourself, or is the lie that you tell yourself that you aren't ready, or you need something to be ready, or you don't feel prepared. Okay, look, I'm going to bust this myth right now and tell you that this is a lie. And I wish I actually, if I were to go back in hindsight, I wish I would have kept the Modern Moms Club podcast going from the very beginning, because that podcast right now would be 7.5, 8 years old. Because Jake is 7. He'll turn 8 in August. So it would be about 7.5 years old. I believe I started it. I'm trying to think back. I believe I started it after he was born. So 7 to 7.5 years old would be the age of that podcast. Okay. So there's so much opportunity, and we're going to get into it, like into all of these bullet points a little bit later here in the episode. But there are so many benefits to, I believe, having your own show, having a podcast. And when you think about it, you're never 100% ready. Like, this is the perfect, because I'm going to weave this into my next tip that I'm going to share with you. But like, there's some days when your hair is not perfect, when your makeup isn't done, and you're like, I don't want to shoot this episode because I'm not ready, or I don't look perfect, or my hair is not perfect, or my makeup, or my lashes, or whatever. Ladies, you understand me. You get me. If you get me, comment below and let me know. All that being said, those are just stops that are stopping us from doing the thing that we should be doing that's going to allow us and take us to the place that we want to go. So if you're someone that's like, oh my gosh, I want to start a podcast, but I don't have the perfect backdrop, or I don't have the perfect like image for my show, or I don't, like, you guys, the image for this Layer Day podcast that you see on iTunes and iHeart and all the places, that was from a photo shoot that I did, I don't know, 2 years ago. Like, it was something I just pulled out of the archives because I was like, you know what? I hadn't done a photo shoot in a while. And I was like, it's time. It's just time to get it out. It was like, no more excuses. Now, you're going to see something new coming out next week after our 100th episode that was planned, that was, updated. But at the end of the day, like, don't let that lie of being ready, or the lie of perfection, stop you from doing the thing that you know you're meant to do. So number one, first and foremost, whether it's podcasting, it is business, it is life in general, start before you're ready, because you are probably already overqualified to do, share, start the thing that you're going to do anyway. You're just overthinking the process. I would say pick one area that you know is going to get you to start, get the wheel in motion, because it's always harder to start the thing before you get everything in motion. So start it, then get the steps in place that you need to complete what you're going to do, but just get it started. So number one, perfection is a myth, ready is a lie, and start before you're ready. Everyone is talking about Soursop, the tropical superfruit with superpowers. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, listen in. If you suffer from inflammation, digestive issues, low energy, or low immune health, there's nothing else like Soursop to help your body feel its best. But the Soursop fruit is almost impossible to source in the US. So Soursop Nutrition is on a mission to bring you a selection of expertly formulated supplements that give you the benefits of Soursop hassle-free. The Soursop Cell Plus Immunity Gummies are gluten-free, non-GMO, and low-carb, and they're a favorite in my house. We also love their shake boosts, which come in 4 flavors, including 2 delicious fall favorites, pumpkin and apple. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I love adding the shakes into my smoothies, and we even add them to our bake treats for the kids, and they love baking with me. They're great for gut health, are full of fiber, and help balance blood sugars, making it a natural weight management aid. Who doesn't love that? The shakes are also 0 sugar, low carb, and gluten-free. Place your first order today and enjoy 20% off with code SANDY20, or use the link in the show notes. The second unexpected lesson that I learned after 100 episodes of podcasting is showing up perfectly imperfect. Again, I was just talking to you guys about, like, especially for women, like, my hair is not done perfectly, or my makeup, or the backdrop, or whatever that thing is that's holding you up. But what I've learned is that imperfection creates deeper connections. And what I mean by this is, like, when you're being vulnerable and when you're sharing, whether it was like a vulnerable moment or a connection point, or even if you just fumble over your words, like, I know you're a real person. You can look at me and be like, oh, her hair is perfect and her makeup is perfect. But if I'm like not all put together, I mean, hence today, like if you're watching me on YouTube, like hair is not blown out, like pretty basic white shirt on. Again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see, but if you're listening to this on podcast, like today is a hair back, getting done kind of, we're going to bleep that out, kind of day. So my point is that the more vulnerable you are and the more you show up just uniquely you, your people will find you. Your people will connect with you and love you for it. All the quirks, all the weird things, all the unique things that you have, because that's you. And there's no like covering up. You shouldn't cover up who you really are, because the more human you are, the more your audience, your people are going to resonate with you, connect with you, engage with you, and you get to show up and serve them on a way deeper level than you would if you were just staying on the surface, right? So I truly believe like you don't need to have the perfect hair, the perfect backdrop, the perfect microphone or lighting. I mean, I have literally done episodes, you guys have seen them here, where I'm outside with a microphone and we make it work. Okay. So all that to be said, like, again, starting before you're ready and showing up perfectly imperfect, like this should just go to show you that like, don't let time be the thing that gets in the way of you not doing the thing that you know you're meant to do. Writing a book, doing a podcast, starting your business. Maybe it's another venture that you want to get into, but like just start. Because again, if I were to look back and if I would have kept my first podcast going, which is very similar, the Modern Moms Club to Slay Your Day, again, different brand, but similar message and theme, I would have been almost 8 years deep in that podcast. But I stopped, I got off, I had a second baby, I wrote a book, I started another business, like it, there was a journey, there was a process. But these 100 episodes and being consistent with these episodes, it just goes to show you that like, if you have a good thing, keep it going. Yes, you have to know when to let some things go, but at the end of the day, like, don't let the perfection that's behind it stop you from doing the thing that you know that you're meant to do to show up in the world, to make it great and be of service. The third tip that I want to share with you after 100 episodes on the Slayer Day podcast, this one is so, so powerful. Okay. Are you ready? Actually, before I give you this lesson learned, I would love for you again to write in the comments and let me know which one of the 100 episodes was your favorite. There's 100 episodes that you can go back and watch and binge. So let me know in the comments which episode was your favorite. Let me know. I'll respond to you. We can chat it up in the comments, but I want to hear from you. Which of the 100 episodes of the Slayer Day podcast was your favorite? Okay, the third lesson that I learned after 100 episodes of podcasting is that podcasting is so much more than just content, okay? It is a community builder. So for those of you that are coming in every week and you're hearing about my life and my business and all the things that I have going on, like you are part of this community, right? And it could be that you're here just to come in weekly to listen to the episodes, or maybe you're in the High Performance Academy, maybe you're in one of my free groups, or you've come to one of my events. But the real magic happens when we start engaging and opening up the conversation. This is why I always ask you guys, like, screenshot, DM me, let me know what you're listening to and like how I can go deeper and what you want me to go deeper in. I'm always asking on Instagram and in Facebook groups, like, what do you want to see more of? What do you want to hear more of? Like, what are we going to uncover and tap into next? Because this is just as much your show as it is mine. And I'm making this to serve. I'm making this so you guys can like pull back the curtain and see how like my home is run and the business is run and the events are done and like mom life, wife life, all the things. So the interesting thing to me was that when I started, I was like, I just want to share on like all the things that are working for me, whether it was like scheduling or content creation or repurposing or time management. I was coming here to serve, but I also didn't realize how huge of a community builder that this would be for both of us, for you and I to go deeper, for you to share with me what's working, what's not working, how I can come on here every week and take your feedback and share with you my own experiences and what's working. So when you make your audience feel seen and a part of the conversation, which is what I strive to do here every single week, it becomes so much more than just a listener. It becomes someone that is a part of your tribe and someone that's a part of my journey, your journey. Like we're in it together. So it's so unique that podcasting, although yes, this is content, it's also such a community builder. And it's a place for us to come together and share the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, because that's what this is meant to be here, especially because we go deep into motherhood and business and wife life. And, within my academy, my high performance academy, it's so funny because the ladies, like we go deep on the things that we share with each other, relationship stuff, womanhood, all the things that come with that. But it's also business and it's also like the fun stuff, the exciting stuff, but it's also the challenging stuff too, which is going to take me to my next point. But before I go there, this has been such an amazing opportunity to connect with you and be that community builder. So that is definitely something that's opened my eyes over the past 100 episodes, that you and I get to go deeper, connect with each other. And I really, really enjoy listening to your feedback, reading the comments, seeing your screenshots, looking in the DMs and seeing like, what do you want more of? What do you want me to create content on? What feedback do you have? Again, that's working, not working, all the things, because that just helps me go deeper and create more of that connection with you, but also create that for other women that are struggling with the same things or just like wanting that tribe and knowing you're not alone. Because I think for me, the biggest thing was when I became a mom, I felt so alone. I felt so isolated in a sense that I was like trying to do all the things between running a business and be a great wife and be a great mom and be a great business owner. And I didn't know how to do that. So in the process of going through and figuring those things out by trial and error for myself, I've been able to bring you guys along for the conversation and show you all the things that work and don't work and put a conversation around that. So I think that's really unique. And again, it's been such a great community builder and has been able to spark so many conversations. And then also like in real life, events that we do that I share with you guys that, like when I'm inviting you to all the events or speaking engagements or whatever it is, like we get to meet in person. And I love that. I love doing events. If you've been here for a while, you know that that's like also my background. So that has been very exciting to just continue the connection, the communication, the conversation, and just go so much deeper with this community. And I'm so, so grateful that you're here. So, piggybacking off of lesson number 3, which was podcasting is so much more than content, it's going deeper and building a community. The fourth lesson that I've learned, which ties in, these kind of all tie in together. So, the fourth lesson that I've learned is the conversations that you fear the most, like the really, really scary ones that you're afraid to share, like me being on the bathroom floor and having a breakdown moment because I don't know how I'm going to be wife, mom, business owner. And in my mind, I want to be all these things and do them in such an amazing way. And I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And going through that whole story that I share on stage and with you guys here, like that to me was so scary to share in the beginning, but it connected me so much deeper with the women that I knew were a part of my tribe and that needed to hear that because I needed to hear that. Like I needed to hear that from the woman that I am today back, 7.5 years ago. It would have made my journey so much easier. It would have made my journey so much more. I don't know. I don't know if it's easy or if it's just like someone that would get me and someone that would understand that like I truly did want to be, and I still strive for this, that I want to be the best in all of these areas that are really important to me. I don't need to be the best thing in areas that, aren't in my ecosystem and that I really don't have any interest in, like, I don't know, pottery making, sports, like not my zone. But when it comes to being a mom and a wife and fueling into my clients, like I want to be the best version of me that I can be for them. And I think from the beginning, I was always so scared of sharing like the things that didn't work for me or what I thought were failures, that having those conversations actually had so much more impact. And I would hesitate to share those things in the beginning because I thought having a personal struggle made me seem weak, or maybe like, I don't know, like I was just afraid to share those things. So I think whether it was like having a guest on and asking them to go deeper with personal struggles, or my own things that I could share with you that worked or didn't work, like those things to me were so much scarier to share. But what I learned, the really like cool thing here, was that I learned that in that discomfort was created really, really powerful connections and content that I was able to share to go deep, to be able to connect with you, like literally to connect with you, the woman who is listening right now, who is watching this, who's listening to this. Because how do you go deep with your girlfriends? How do you make that happen? You literally talk about things that are hard, that you've overcome, that you're struggling with. And that's what I wanted this to be. I never wanted this to be like the perfect, I have all the solutions to everything. This was so much more about a conversation that I could share with you the struggles, what the journey was in figuring out, and then what worked for me and what was working for the women in my academy, the time management, the calendars, the time with my husband, the date nights that we did, like all of the automations and the systems, like that was the thing, that was the solution. But all along the way, it was creating this community. It was creating this conversation around going deep and being able to open up about these things, because that's where the real heart of the conversation starts. It's not in all the fluff. It's in the deep moments that allow us to be so much more connected. And that's why I'm so grateful, because again, if you've been here from the beginning, the middle, or right here, right now, today is your first episode, like you can go back to episode number 1. One of my girls in my academy mentioned this, and she's like, Sandi, like if you go back and you look at those like beginning episodes, you were like in your bedroom. And I was in my bedroom 7 years ago from the Modern Moms Club podcast, interviewing guests. Like it was like a whole other vibe. It was totally a whole other vibe. So it's really cool to go back and have that content. And even today, like I'm going to be able to go back, 100 episodes now from where we are today and see the evolution. So I think that that's really cool too. It's kind of like a time capsule to see where you were. I have, Jared and I we shared our birth, like experience, which was like an hour long. I don't even know how long that video was. Maybe like an hour long video on the whole process of like when I went into labor with Jake and what that whole experience was like. So I love that I had that documented. I think that that is so, so special. Like the boys coming home from the hospital, like all of that's documented, which is really, really special. So in a way, it's like, yes, the conversations are so much deeper, so much more impactful, but it's also really cool because it's like a time capsule that I get to have of the journey of all of this time that's been documented. So I would say if you are afraid of going deep and having those really scary conversations, those are going to be the things, those are going to be the conversation openers or starters that allow you to go deeper with the women or the community that you are meant to serve. Okay, the fifth powerful lesson that I want to share with you that I've learned after podcasting for 100 episodes, a little bit more than 100, but at least for the Slayer Day podcast, 100 episodes, is that your energy is so much more important than the script. Now, when I podcast, I have my camera on and I have a couple bullet points on what I want to share with you guys just to like keep me on track, because you guys know your girl can talk and I can kind of go off on a tangent. So I kind of have those bullet points just to keep me on track and like moving and flowing and going and all the things. Okay. However, what I will say is like, I think that there's a lot of women that I talk to that are early on in the space. And I'm trying to think back to see if I did this. I don't think I did this in the beginning, but I think what I did do in the beginning was like, I didn't necessarily have bullet points, but maybe like paragraphs or sentences. And I felt like I had to say the right sentence, or I had to like actually be following along on a script. Like to me, I've never been a scripted person. I've been in radio, I've been in TV for a very long time, like even before college. Like even in high school, I was on like my high school's like TV news station. So for as long as I can remember, I have always just been so much more comfortable just talking and not reading from a script. So although I do have bullet points, I think that your energy is so much more important than a script, because you can tell. Like, you can tell when you're reading a script and you're reading word for word and your eyes are moving along, like, you know, you definitely know. So I think that, to the point of not being so scripted and just getting more comfortable being yourself, that is something that just comes with practice. That is just something that comes with time and repetition and consistency and doing it over and over again and getting comfortable. And again, back to like number one, number two, there's no such thing as perfect. And the more you get comfortable with it, the more it will flow, the more you'll be comfortable having guests on and just kind of like opening up and sharing and being uniquely you. So, to my fifth lesson, I think that, like, all of this to be said, none of this needs to be perfect. Like, this is kind of like the whole point of just getting started and doing it, right? Like, don't put yourself in a position where if you are podcasting every week, it has to be the same studio with the same lighting and the same microphone and the same setup and the same outfit and like all these things. Maybe not the same outfit, but you get what I'm saying. Like, just let it be what it's meant to be. And like, your people will find you, your content will be more authentic, and you're going to connect with an audience that really needs what you have to put out there. And I think for me, again, 100 episodes in, we found that groove, we found that rhythm. And I think that it's been so amazing to be able to connect with you ladies. And again, like in the DMs on IG and in the comments here, like on YouTube and on the podcast, and seeing all the users from like the downloads and the listeners from all around the world. Like, I love when you reach out to me, when you screenshot it and you share it and I can repost it, or you reach out to me and you say, I listened to this episode and I had a question about this, or I'm wondering about this, because again, like, this is a community and this is what this was built on. So ditch the script, give yourself a couple bullet points if you're like me and you kind of like can go off on tangents to just keep you organized. But the more real and authentic you are, that's what's going to win all day, every day. Okay, I have a final tip for you that wasn't in my 5 lessons, but is a bonus that I feel like had to make the list, because it kind of just goes without saying that, like, you don't really know what's going to happen until you do something. And you don't realize the doors that are going to open or the opportunity that exists until you get into this journey. And it's been amazing. Like, I can't even begin to tell you the amazing people that I've met because of this podcast, like having them on the show, going on to their shows. I mean, you guys know I just did an event with Kelly Roach where we did a live podcasting event. Like, we took it out of our studios, we brought it into a live studio audience, and it was the most electrifying, gratifying, like magical day. I'm still, if you can't tell, I'm still on a high from that day because it was so magical and so special. And we have a couple things coming, so stay tuned on that. Because the women were just like, we want more, let's do more, let's go. So we have some amazing things coming up for you there. But I think just between like the opportunities that come up for new relationships, new friendships that you can meet, bringing people onto your podcast, again, documenting like your journey of where you're at, different collaborations, different businesses that you get to like kind of experiment with and see what you love, what you want to recommend. Because again, like, having your own platform, you do have a voice. You do have, it's like having your own show. Like, I don't know, who doesn't want to have their own show? I think that's amazing. So I think at the end of the day, it's like, you have an audience. When you have an audience of people that trust you, that come to you for whatever your area of expertise is, you have to be so clear in who you are, what you stand for, how you help people, and what you're willing to stand up for and get behind. And that includes like sponsorships, collaborations, people that you align yourself with. So all of this to be said, like, it does open a lot of doors, but you also have to be really cautious and careful as the owner of the podcast or the show in what you're willing to put in front of your audience, because you have a really big responsibility. I would never, like I say this all the time, like, I would never promote products. For an example, you guys know, like, I'm not a big drinker. I think I drink maybe on like my birthday and my husband's birthday, and that's probably it. Maybe like a vacation. Okay, like I'll kind of sprinkle that in there. But like if I were to align with a cocktail brand or a liquor brand, you'd be like, girl, we know you don't drink. Like, come on. This is like the high performance show. This is not about alcohol. Okay. So, all that to be said, like, you do have a responsibility to show up and share the things that are in alignment with who you are. And I think, again, back to the point of being real and being authentic, those brands or businesses or partnerships or relationships will all fall into place when you are being the most real and authentic version of yourself. So those are the 6 lessons that I wanted to share with you today that were unexpected, but also a huge part of the transformation and the journey. And after 100 episodes of the Slay Your Day podcast, I'm so excited to bring you even more content on time management, work-life balance, juggling all the things, wife life, mom life, home life, because we can do it all, ladies. We can truly do it all, and we can feel so good doing it. I think one of the things that I have loved over the past year is like sharing with you not just the business side of things, but like cooking and sourdough making and like sourdough baking and like doing all these things that I feel like I've even evolved in as a woman and a wife and a mom, because like there is no such thing as putting us in a box. Like we can do all these things that bring us joy. And that's going to continue to unfold for me. So I'm so grateful that you're here and you are a part of this journey and we get to do it together. And if you want to go deeper, and if you're like Sandi, like I hear you talk about systems and strategy and all of the things to make the home and the business and the self-care life work, run like a well-oiled machine, then I do invite you to join us in the High Performance Academy. Ladies, I cannot brag on these women in the academy enough, because these women are doing it. They are running their businesses. They are showing up for each other. They are collaborating with each other. They are doing so many beautiful, big things in this world. And it's such a privilege to be able to see it front row, firsthand, to see them be fulfilled, like be fulfilled as wives and mothers and business owners. And not all of them are wives and mothers, but all of them are high performers who are tapping into that next level of their version of success. No matter what that looks like individual to them, they are tapping into that. Speaking on stages, writing books, launching podcasts. And by the way, if you are interested in either writing a book or launching a podcast, reach out to me, because I have an amazing, amazing team that helps me put these together, these episodes every single week for you. So shout out to the team, shout out to Tyler, and shout out to my Natalie, my Connect Network fam, for bringing this together and making it so effortless for me and fun for me, because it has to be fun. That's like another bonus tip. It has to be fun, because if it's not fun, you're not going to do it and you're not going to be consistent. So make it fun. Make it as effortless as you can. And 100 episodes later, I might just be hearing from you on what your tips are. But if you are interested in starting your podcast or writing your book, I would definitely say reach out to me so I can connect you with my amazing all-star 5-star team who has really made this seamless for me from the beginning. And not just seamless, but fun. That is like the most important part. It has to be fun. It has to be something that you enjoy doing, that you know contributes to like the other big part of the machine. And by the way, in the High Performance Academy, we talk about how all of this gets to roll and run together in the big repurposing machine. So if you want to know more on that and you want more information, just reach out to me on Instagram and just say, hey, Sandi, I want to apply for the High Performance Academy, or I will link my email below. You can reach out to me personally and we can chat about if the High Performance Academy is a good fit for you. So thank you so, so much from the bottom of my heart for being here 100 episodes later. We're going to be here now for the next 100 episodes. So many new amazing guests, collaborations, partnerships, and we're just going to keep going. We're going to continue the conversation about how we get to do it all as women, business owners, moms, wives, self-care, all the things to always slay our day. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to see you on the next episode.